Good morning, SKN. I'm Andre Cunningham.
And I am Hortensia Carty. And this morning we are going to finish this whole roti bake or fry debate. I don't know why Andre is smiling like that. Andre, we are going to finish this. So folks, for those of you who aren't familiar, this is the roti pan or the tower that is used in Trinidad and Guyana. Now, I asked the Trinidadians, I asked the Guyanese, I went to my aunt eventually. She is a home economics teacher in Tortola. So this is what my aunt told me, right? And I'm going to read exactly what she told me so I can either concede or keep this debate
I'm eager
running.
to hear this one.
So my aunt says, and quote, Guyanese say bake, but actually it's fried. Since baking takes place in an oven or covered pot, like a cast iron one. So, folks, I have to concede and concur and agree with Andre that roti is fried.
It is certainly fried, because I was just about to head down to court and show you exactly what an oven looks like.
But the tandoori roti is placed in the oven. But, folks, yes. So, roti is fried. And with that said, we will head into the local news for this morning. Our first story comes from SKNIS. The government of St. Kitts and Nevis, under the leadership of Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, has taken a calculated approach towards strengthening the Federation's voice on the international stage, all in the interest of the further development of the country. Prime Minister Dr. Drew said on Thursday, May 18th, during his press conference with cabinet ministers, and quote, "We live on an island that currently depends on overseas suppliers, imports of all types of fuels, all of our building materials, etc. Needless to say, we import much more than we export. Therefore, it is also important for the government representatives who have ministers to engage our outside partners so that our voices are heard, we are seen, and the interests of our people of St. Kitts and Nevis are represented and considered." End quote. Additionally, the Honorable Prime Minister said it is imperative for his administration to re-establish relations with the international community that were fractured under the former administration. Dr. Drew said, and quote, "For the last 7 years before we came into service as elected by the people, we have discovered that our relationship on the international scene would have been fractured in multiple ways." End quote. I really hope we get that sorted and fixed, because that's not a good look for us.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
And still on the local scene, this one comes to us from Win Media SKN. The Department of Gender Affairs Nevis, in commemoration of International Day of the Boy Child, recognized one boy at each of the primary and secondary schools on the island. The Boy of Excellence Award was presented to students from schools around the Federation. According to a representative from the Department of Gender Affairs Nevis, the boys were recognized for their positive contributions to their schools and society, including, but not limited to, good behavior, leadership roles, academic excellence, sports excellence, etc. The awards were presented throughout the week of Monday, May 15th to Friday, May 19th, 2023. Influential males across the island presented the awards. International Day of the Boy Child is held annually on May 16th. The global theme this year is Boys and Mental Health.
As we continue now, our last local story comes from SKNIS. The Right Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas, Foreign Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, while attending the 26th meeting of the Council for Foreign and Community Relations, the COFCOR, in a series of bilateral engagements in the margins of the COFCOR meeting, Foreign Minister, the Right Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas, met with His Excellency Juan Fernandez Torrego, Secretary of the State for Latin America, the Caribbean, the Spanish world, in his capacity as Special Envoy of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the European Union, and the Corporation of the Kingdom of Spain. During this bilateral meeting, the two officials discussed Spain's candidate city of Malaga for Expo 2027 and its upcoming presidency of the European Union for the next 6 months starting June 1st. Spain pledged its continued commitment to work with the Caribbean on issues such as climate change, food security, health, and disaster prevention. Minister Douglas thanked Spain for its continued support for the Caribbean and the need for Spain to pay specific attention to St. Kitts and Nevis in the context of their shared history and in the interest of shared global commons. Foreign Minister Douglas also urged Spain to advocate for OECS countries' CBI programs given their fundamental value and impact these islands' social and economic development agenda.
And shout out to all of our citizens over there in Spain.
In Spain, yes.
And here's what's happening in our local weather report this morning. Today will be partly cloudy with a high of 83 and a low of 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Take a look at your weather forecast for this morning. Stay with us. Much more when we return on GMSKN.
Yeah.
An exotic experience.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
Yo, what up? It's your boy and Richie right here at Studio 327. I'm here to give you the promo that you guys need because this is something special for St. Kitts. I'm telling you, tune in to Good Morning SKN, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on YouTube, Facebook, and on Moment Channel 4. Also, I realize nobody else is doing this. Follow the Good Morning SKN Instagram at Good Morning SKN and the Studio 327 Inc. Instagram. Follow us on YouTube and Facebook. This is pretty long, but follow us and yeah.
What will it take to grab the attention of someone with the power to make your dream come true? 7 hopeful entrepreneurs in search of the finances necessary to take their ideas to the next level.
This is their lives, right? This is their business.
4 savvy business owners ready to make a pragmatic investment.
You can't help people if you can't help yourself. First you make the dollar and you give the dollar.
Why you take your business offline?
I really feel that you need to do a little bit more research.
Very knowledgeable. Super knowledgeable.
You have a great idea and a great concept. I think you'd be snapped up by Disney.
If you have a job someplace, it means that if something is not working, you can walk away.
Who will invest?
Let's do this. Let's do this.
Thank you. And who will be sent home with nothing? I am your host, Kevin Hope.
Greetings, my lovely people. I'm Chantel, residing in Taiwan. 12 hours time difference. It's nighttime here, morning time in SK. I'm busy and on the go. However, I always manage to keep up to date with what's happening in SK. All thanks to Good Morning SKN. Good morning SKN. Ciao bango.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
Yeah.
An exotic experience.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN, and we now continue with the latest in regional news. This one comes to us by press release from the Caribbean Examinations Council. On Wednesday, 17th of May 2023, the Caribbean Examinations Council, CXC, launched an investigation following concerns that the Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate, CSEC, Mathematics Paper 2 was leaked prior to the administration of the examination on that day. CXC has been in constant contact with regional ministers of education since the information came to light. CXC concluded its investigation on Friday, May 19th. CXC and regional ministries of education recognized that candidates have spent months preparing for their Mathematics Paper 2 examinations, and the news of the security breach of the examination has caused much anxiety and concern. As a result of the breach and the compromise of the examination, as well as consideration for the mental health and well-being of our candidates, timely release of results and matriculation requirements, CXC has determined that for this examination, the modified approach will be used to award fair and valid grades. CXC would like to reassure candidates that the security of the regional examinations is paramount and their best interests continue to be at the center of the organization's decisions and processes. CXC will continue to provide updates as when necessary and would advise stakeholders to monitor CXC's official communication channels for information.
Cheating.
Shocking.
Wow. Well, I hope they get it sorted out. And persons who really worked hard and didn't get a chance to be involved in the league, that they get their correct grades.
I agree.
On the international scene, in a warp speed technological advancement, Chinese scientists have developed mid-air ceramic 3D printing. The team from the Jiangnan University has enabled ceramic curves to be freely extended in space without support, opening a panoply of additional applications for the already widely used technology of ceramic. Ceramics are used at high levels of engineering, technology in aerospace, computer, and mechanical engineering because of their structural stability, wear resistance, and high temperature endurance. The team used a photosensitive ceramic slurry for the 3D printing mixture that almost instantly solidifies when it comes in contact with near-infrared light from the sun or heat lamps, as seen in the above image. Professor Lorenz said in the paper, and quote, "The printed curves can be freely extended in space without support. The printing process is smooth and continuous without the need for heating or cooling," end quote. With the new slurry, Lorenz was able to print ceramic torsion springs at 3.5 millimeter thickness, which retain their shape in midair. Using near-infrared light can solidify certain ceramic structures at these thin dimensions, even at right angles, instantly upon exiting the printing nozzle, removing the need for support structures that can impede printing efficiency. So technology is on the rise again.
Yep.
And that's so good.
Yep. I love me some science and technology.
Look at you. Folks, well, there you have it for local, regional, and international news. Go tell your friend to tell your friend. For those of you watching us in St. Martin, Trinidad, and the diaspora in Guyana, that we're on, to turn on their devices, and we'll see you right back here after this short break. We have so much in store for you today.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom. No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
What will it take to grab the attention of someone with the power to make your dream come true? 7 hopeful entrepreneurs in search of the finances necessary to take their ideas to the next level.
This is their lives, right? This is their business.
Four savvy business owners ready to make a pragmatic investment.
You can't help people if you can't help yourself. First you make the dollar and you give the dollar.
Why you take your business offline?
I really feel that you need to do a little bit more research.
Very knowledgeable. Super knowledgeable.
You have a great idea and a great concept. I think you'd be snapped up by Disney.
If you have a job someplace, it means that if something is not working, you can walk away.
Who will invest?
Let's do this. Let's do this.
Thank you. And who will be sent home with nothing? I am your host, Kevin Hope. Yeah.
An exotic experience.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
各位朋友，大家好. Greetings, my lovely people. I'm Chantel, residing in Taiwan. 12 hours time difference. It's nighttime here, morning time in SK. I'm busy and on the go. However, I always manage to keep up to date with what's happening in SK. All thanks to Good Morning SKN. Good morning SKN. Ciao bango.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. Our first guest this morning joined us to discuss the new report of OECS. Wendy Wallace, the Dominican country-led ambassador, and Malachi Ferguson, St. Kitts and Nevis' country-led ambassador. Morning to you, Malachi.
Morning to you both.
And Wendy.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having us.
Pleasure. Welcome.
First, can you tell us what is the EU report and how does it work?
Okay, so Europort OECS is a digital platform that was designed by UNICEF, and it is currently being managed by the OECS Commission as a means of engaging and empowering young people ages 13 to 29 to amplify their voices, to speak out on issues that impact them the most, impact their communities, impact their countries. So this is a digital space to finally get young people to be heard.
Okay.
So this is what the EU report in a nutshell is about.
Okay. So my question to both of you, and I'm going to start with you ladies first. How did you get involved in the EU report?
Okay, I think I can take that first.
Yes, ladies first.
Okay, so I got into Europort because I recognize the impact of data collection to amplify the voices of young people. I believe that it is about time that young people's voices are heard. And the Europort platform provided the perfect space. And not just a space, but the perfect digital space, because young people are using social media. And imagine if young people could take, let's say, 5 seconds to 5 minutes of their time to actually engage on social media in something that will impact positive change. And I recognize the importance of that. And I was like, I'm going to get on board with Europort OECS and try to encourage other young persons to participate in the platform, because the power of one voice is good, but the power of many is even better.
Okay. Malachi?
So I'm a youth advocate and also a youth parliamentarian, and we have those problems with data collection here, and similarly as Wendy would have just said, across the Caribbean, right? So I wanted to join a space that, has that same goal, which is to get quantifiable data for policymakers and lawmakers to be guided, make informed decisions when in matters relating to youth.
So Malachi and Wendy, individually, can you tell us what are your roles at the report OECS? Your individual roles.
Okay, well, I'm the country lead for Dominica. So, I started as a regular ambassador, then I moved up ranks to become the lead ambassador for Dominica. Yes.
And similarly, I'm the country lead ambassador for St. Kitts and Nevis. I have a team of young ambassadors, young persons, that are part of this movement.
Awesome.
You said moved up the ranks. So you started as a regular member, and how does moving up the rank work?
Well, it's not necessarily as a means of moving up the rank. I'm just trying to give myself a little, But basically, you have to put in the work as an ambassador, try to mobilize as much young persons to the platform as possible. And I think that work will be recognized to basically amplify you to that position.
Okay, I like that explanation.
And so tell the audience, the viewing public, what are some of the topics that you report generally discuss?
In terms of the topic, it's broad. Your report really encourages inclusiveness. So the topics range from education to health, to mental health, climate change, climate justice. There is basically no exclusion of issues, as long as it's youth-related issues that basically impact young people. Europort OECS will get on board to address these issues. And again, because we are dealing with a number of member states within the OECS region, obviously some of the topics will be tailored to the individual priorities of the necessary country.
All right. Malachi, do you feel the same way?
Yes, so one of the major things what I love about this platform is that it could go down to very specific, it could go down to parishes in the country. So we have St. Kitts and Nevis, we could say what is affecting persons in Nevis, what problems are young people in Nevis really facing, right? And then lawmakers, policymakers, and Skiniperians like myself can go in and debate on behalf of these young persons, informed by quantitative data, right? So that is one of the beauty about this platform, that, it's easy, it meets youth where they are, which is WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook. So you don't have to go and download a new app, right? You just join, and when you could talk about the number, the number to join your report, OECS.
Okay.
Yes.
So wait, Andre, hold on. Since he touched on that, let's let one day. Sure.
Right. So, how does your report work? It's fairly easy. Your report utilizes the 3 popular social media platforms: Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram. That's where the young people are, because it's a platform for the youth, by the youth. So, in terms of the steps, young persons can actually text the word join to the WhatsApp number 758-287-2124, or text the word join to Facebook Messenger or Instagram DM. Young persons will be prompted to 3 demographic questions, nothing personal, just to collect information regarding your age, parish, and so forth. And this information is absolutely confidential. It's just in terms of really collecting this data so that it could be analyzed effectively.
Yes. As a young person, I should join the U report, right? How do you protect what I say in this general space so that persons don't come across as if I'm confusion, or if I'm voicing my opinion, what's bothering me? How do you protect a young individual like myself from voicing my opinion on these social media platforms?
Right. So your report, OECS, is an anonymous digital space. No personal information is collected. It's strictly demographic questions that you are asked. And definitely your report, the platform prides itself on confidentiality. So you are basically represented by a number, a code.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
So you hear it, folks. So if I contact you on WhatsApp, you won't be tracing my number.
Not at all.
Do you plan to contact them?
I'm thinking about it.
Okay. So Malachi, this one is for you. What are some of the upcoming initiatives or campaign that you report OECS is planning to launch right here in our Twin Island Federation?
Okay, so one of the upcoming initiatives basically is our relaunch country mission. That is why Wendy is here, lending some support from all the way from Dominica. So what we plan to do, we have a number of media engagements, and especially schools. We're visiting schools. We basically come into communities near you, right? So we're going even to Nevis, because we have to get sign-ups. So we want to get young persons sign up to this platform, because we can only go to lawmakers and go to policymakers and said, this is the numbers if the persons actually sign up, participate in these polls, participate in the fund-do task. So that is our main goal for this week, letting persons know what your report is, the importance of this tool, and that it's a necessary, and that's what we need to learn. It's a necessary tool, and bridge the gap between young persons and those in authority.
And speaking about young persons, because when I did my little research on your report for ACS, I realized that you folks target age range between 13 to 29. Yes. Why is that specific age range?
It is the age range that's defined by UNICEF, but there is no age discrimination. Anyone can actually sign on to the platform, right? Even those in the expired youth bracket can actually sign on to the platform. Yes.
I had lectern. Side eye. I had to do that, man. Ooh, okay. That's good to know that everybody can participate. Yes. So I'm gonna ask you both, what is the biggest issue that youths have in your federation and in Dominica?
Okay, so I think in St. Kitts, one of the major issues, and that's why I feel like this platform is, because I could say what the major problem is for certain youth. I can't speak for the majority of youth, and that's why this platform is necessary, right?
It's important.
So, but what I can say is the major problem we have is unemployment and the increase in crime, and especially in our high schools.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I can echo similar sentiments in terms of utilizing the platform to really collect that information from young people. I mean, it's one thing to basically speak from guesswork or from assumption that young people need a particular, thing. But this is what the platform is for, to collect this information, to hear directly from young people what is their biggest issue, what are their challenges, what is it that they really need, what are their aspirations and expectations. But I'm so far from the information collected, we can clearly say that young people need more participation. They need more. They need a better voice in terms of bridging that gap between themselves and policymakers to advocate for issues. So I think one of the biggest issues is participation at the governance level. Unemployment and all the other issues is pretty common to most OECS states. So I think that is without saying.
And I know young people in particular are hard to deal with sometimes. What are some of the most difficult challenges you all face at the U Report OECS? Any challenges you all discovered?
In terms of engaging young people? I think Malachi can speak specifically for St. Kitts.
So one of the things that we need are more youth groups, youth-led. We need youth advocacy. Our youth advocacy is not, and I must admit, the best. We have, Sniper, which is charting a course for youth groups in the Federation. And now we have your report, which would, make it up there also with Sniper, being that voice for youth, right? So one of the things that we need to have a different mindset when it comes to youth advocacy, and that is starting with youth having a say with things that involves them and directly impact them.
You mentioned the schools. What about going to the churches when they do have youth groups and talking to them about this?
Yes, Wendy actually has, a plan for that we will be implementing soon in St.
Yeah, we do have something coming because we recognize the gap in age range and in terms of just engaging this with the religious community, because I think that they also do have a say, and in terms of the religious community, there's a lot that they can do. And you know that there are religious faith groups, there are civil community groups as well. I mean, Pathfinders, Christian Union networks, and so on. Right. So we do have something coming. So it's about time to get signed up so that you can definitely stay tuned to these plans. But it's definitely going to be hopefully a summer project that's going to be grand and impactful.
Can you, either of you, speak to the disaster response that the Voices of Influence policies and programs in St. Vincent?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that would speak to some of our greatest achievements, which I am always very excited about, because it's one thing to engage young people, but is another thing to recognize the impacts, right? I think the greatest achievement so far is our ability to mobilize over 5,600 young people from across the OECS. And in doing so, we have also mobilized young people in St. Vincent. And we are all familiar with La Soufrière volcanic eruption. So UNICEF would have actually utilized the U-Report platform to engage young people in St. Vincent and solicit their views on how the volcanic eruption impacted their lives. And surprisingly to say, from the poll, about 57% of young people said that they needed cash. I mean, if that's what young people say they need, you can't say that's not, you can't defer, right? If that's exactly. So what UNICEF did is that they recognized that's what young people said, so we're going to give young people what they're asking for. So UNICEF actually implemented this Cash Plus program to provide financial assistance to families in St. Vincent. And this is not limited to financial assistance, but they also recognize from the data collected that young people were affected mentally. So they utilized the U-Report platform to actually propose psychosocial support and the necessary resources that young Vincentians can actually employ to assist them.
Awesome. And Malachi, that's your camera right here. Can you just look in that camera and tell the folks, especially in St. Kitts and Nevis, why it's important or why they should be a part of the report?
Okay, so why is it important to be a U reporter? That's what you're called when you sign up to the platform, right? So it's important because as a youth advocate, this hits home for me. Our lawmakers and our policymakers and even us, youth debaters need to know what issues really affect youth. This platform is one, confidential, right? So you could just text in the chat and respond to polls without feeling intimidated. You could speak freely, no one is there judging you, and that's the importance of U Report OECS. So I would encourage, just like what I did my research, I followed U Report OECS on Instagram and Facebook, and then I would have been able to, start doing polls for St. Kitts, polls for the OECS. And then you could see these turning into actual legislation. And that's where we're going to be partnering with more like ministries. So ministries and lawmakers connecting. We're connecting with the data, we get the data, we go to the Ministry of Youth, go to the Ministry of Environment. So this is what we would feel, right? And this is what we think means strong action. And that is why U Report OECS is a necessary tool.
Awesome. And Wendy, any final words before we get to the break?
As the tagline says on our shirts here, voices matter. Our voices matter. Young people voices matter. I think it's about time that we engage young people in a space where they feel safe and get down with tokenism, youth tokenism. I think that's one of my biggest, fits. Down with tokenism, because we engage young people in a space, but there is really no plan. So we just put them there as ornaments. So this digital space is the perfect opportunity for young people voices to actually matter and to help to bridge that gap between young people and policymakers as a way to amplify their voices on issues and assisting that decision-making process. So I would definitely encourage young people in St. Kitts and Nevis, because we'll also be engaging young people in Nevis to get with the program. Sign up to one of the most amazing global movements. Like Malachi would have mentioned, there are over 26 million young people signed up globally in over 95 countries. And we are a speck on this in this global movement, but we can definitely make a massive impact. So that would be my encouragement to young people in St. Kitts and Nevis.
I see I'm feeling a future Eugenia child.
Future Eugenia.
Right here, and a future Prime Minister right here. Yes.
Of course. Well, there you have it, folks. I want to thank Malachi and Wendy for coming to the studio with us this morning and share with us, enlightening us more on what the U Report is. Much more when we return on June 6th. Thank you.
Yeah.
An exotic experience.
no cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
What will it take to grab the attention of someone with the power to make your dream come true? 7 hopeful entrepreneurs in search of the finances necessary to take their ideas to the next level.
This is their lives, right? This is their business.
4 savvy business owners ready to make a pragmatic investment.
You can't help people if you can't help yourself. First, you make the dollar and you give the dollar.
Why you take your business offline?
I really feel that you need to do a little bit more research.
Very knowledgeable. Super knowledgeable.
You have a great idea and a great concept. I think you'd be snapped up by Disney.
If you have a job someplace, it means that if something is not working, you can walk away.
Who will invest?
Let's do this. Let's do this.
Thank you. And who will be sent home with nothing? I am your host, Kevin Hope.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. The medical industry is one of the most crucial industries in the world. Andre and I had the opportunity to engage with Jason Esdale, a resident surgeon who recently got accepted into an Ivy League program at Yale University in the New Haven Hospital program. Jason is a son of the soil, and he shared with us how his upbringing here in the Federation influenced his decision to pursue medicine as a career path. Let's all take a look. Welcome to Good Morning SKN, Dr. Jason Esdale. It is indeed a pleasure having you on this morning. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. This is a wonderful opportunity. I'm really excited to, talk to you about medicine and, everything else that comes up in this conversation.
Nice.
Interesting. So, Jason, can I refer to you as Jason or Dr. Esdale?
Yeah, you can call me Jason. It's okay.
Okay. But don't mind if we call you Dr. Esdale, because we are fascinated by the doctors. All right. So, Jason, can you just share with us, tell us a little bit about your alma mater, your days here in St. Kitts before you migrated?
Yeah, so, I grew up in St. Kitts till I was 18. I went to St. Teresa's Convent for primary school. Then I went to Washington Archibald High for high school. Did 2 years at CFB, and then came to the U.S. for to pursue this journey to become a doctor.
Oh, so you were always inspired to become a doctor?
If I said yes, that would be a lie. But I kind of went through high school like toying with different things. I was interested in like computers. I was like, maybe I'll do like information technology. I always could draw and stuff. So I was like, oh, maybe I could be an architect, and then later in high school, I picked up like biology and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, this is pretty interesting. So that kind of sparked the interest. And I was always looking for a career that could have like a feeling of like self-fulfillment in contributing to the greater good. And, I think the idea of being a doctor, you're doing like a great service for humanity. You're helping take care of sick people. Combine that with, my interest in the sciences, it was kind of like a good mix for me.
Awesome. And can you share with us your upbringing? How did your upbringing here in St. Kitts help you to make the decision in becoming or pursuing becoming a doctor?
Yeah, so kind of like what I just referenced, about having like a sense of self-fulfillment, and contributing to the greater good. I grew up in a church. I was in church every Sunday morning, the Catholic church down by the square. Um, and I think, that kind of really set the premise of, do unto others as you have them do unto you, and really just finding joy and helping others. So I think that was a big path of me like pursuing medicine, just getting like a sense of satisfaction and a good feeling about doing something good for others.
You talk about paying it forward. Do you intend one day to come back to St. Kitts and pay it forward here?
Yeah, I would love to. I think if the opportunity arises, I have, a chance to serve St. Kitts, as a good patient population. I would definitely come back. Hopefully I can, bring some new things that I learned up here and integrate them into, the economy and the healthcare system in St. Kitts as well.
I get the persons who are in charge of working, so you can see that we have a good doctor this week.
Indeed. So, Jason, you've received
shameless plug.
Yes.
Indeed. So, Jason, you received a bachelor's in biological science at Florida International University. You've also been to Howard University College of Medicine, and currently you are doing an internship in general surgery at the University of Virginia. How is that going?
I mean, it's hard. This is one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. They keep saying, each step, is harder than the next. And this being an intern is definitely hard. But, I think I'm getting better each day. I feel like if all these other people could do it, and why can't I do it?
Of course.
It's just a part of the journey. And, I think it's getting better.
Of course. And as we say down here in St. Kitts Nevis, we're little but we Talawa. So I'm sure you're pushing through.
Yeah, man. I have no choice, honestly. So,
of course.
So you mentioned the challenges. What is your biggest challenge thus far?
I think time management. Honestly, that's like the thing that really is like killing me, because like my day starts at 4 a.m. And I have to be at the hospital for 5, and then I leave somewhere between like 6 and 7. So that gives me like, between like 7 and 11 to do chores, meal prep, go to the gym, play basketball, take care of my dog. It's just study, do research. Like it's just really hard sometimes to fit all of that stuff in that little 4-hour window. So yeah, time management is really, really challenging, but I think I'm getting better at that.
Oh, okay.
Certainly. And can you share with us, what was your reaction when you were received? What was your reaction, rather, when you been accepted into the Ivy League program? What was your reaction like?
I couldn't believe it, honestly. It was so surreal. Like I dropped my phone like on my hand when I get the email. I just couldn't believe it that Ivy League program would be interested in me. This guy coming from St. Kitts, from real humble upbringings. So, it was surreal. Starting to feel more real now that I'm doing like all this paperwork and filling out contracts and stuff like that. So, I'm grateful. I'm grateful at the end of the day.
Of course, proud of you, man. Congratulations.
What is something
Thank you.
You're welcome. What is something you did not expect in medical school or about medical school?
I didn't expect. Well, we talked about time management, but I didn't expect. How do I phrase this? Let me say this correctly. Like I didn't really pay attention to how important it is to have like a good self-care regimen and really taking care of yourself, because this current system could just drag you down. You just been running on 2 hours of sleep, and then you just start looking like run down. So it's really good to have your self-care routine, optimized, I guess. Me personally, I get a haircut every 10 days. That's something that I like, because I like having a good haircut. I get facials and massages just to feel good. And then going to the gym too is kind of like another outlet. So just having your different outlets and self-care routine is something I really did know going into medicine. and how important that would be.
Of course. And Jason, becoming a doctor is a pretty long journey, but can you share with us some of the must-have or lifesavers that you must have for a medical student?
Yeah, definitely. So I think having a good mentor is really important. Like I feel like, I'm here today because I've had like good mentorship. I've had people that I could talk to who've been through, all the stuff that I'm going through, someone I could vent to, and someone who could just really like, provide you them gems that you wouldn't really be able to find without like talking to someone. So having mentors and like talking to people, networking, I think that's like extremely important. We talked about the self-care routine. I think that's also very important. Something that people don't tell you, because you got to feel good to like perform,
Yeah.
Right.
And, also, I guess from an academic standpoint, just knowing how to study. I feel like a lot of people like don't know how to study, and they went through undergrad, just doing one thing, and that doesn't work in medicine and then like higher education. So just really fine tuning the things that work for you and knowing like, all right, this works for me, I'm gonna stick to it. This doesn't work for me, so I'm gonna step far away from that.
Okay.
Right.
Wow.
So, if I may, Jason, there are so many doctors out there. You have pediatrician, you have, a wide range of doctors. Some even deal with the teeth, with surgery with the teeth. But you are studying to become a surgeon, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what is it that intrigues you on being a surgeon?
So I think one of the things that stood out to me in med school was like kind of how different the days are. Like some days you're in the operating room, some days you're in clinic. I think kind of like that versatility and having like, different schedules was something that stuck out to me. I don't think I would enjoy being in like one setting like 5 days out of the week. I wanted some like, versatility. I also like the fact that you get to use your hands to like make tangible changes. You're just not pushing medicine and just saying, well, I hope this works. No shade to any other doctors, but that's something that I liked. I like being able to practice it. I can have a problem, I can go in and use my hands to fix it.
Good stuff.
Awesome.
I must ask, did surgery choose you? Or did it choose you, or did you choose it?
I guess it chose me.
Oh.
I was, I guess it was kind of 50-50.
Okay.
I did look into other stuff I did look into other like, specialties, and I just felt like they weren't for me at the end of the day.
Okay.
Also, Jason, you aspire rather to be a professor of surgery at an academic institution. Can you share with us where you would want to become a professor, or any place out there you?
That's a great question. Ideally somewhere, on the warmer side. New Haven is gonna be really cold, so I'm just gonna have to suck it up and just deal with it.
Right.
But somewhere on the warmer side, some place that has, like a good percentage of like, minorities and African American, Afro Caribbean population, so I can really connect with like those patients. And also somewhere that has like an associated medical school, because I want to continue like mentoring and really kind of creating like a pipeline for other people that look like me, to kind of come along and join this field of medicine.
I like that.
In your graduating class, Jason, since you mentioned persons that look like you, how many persons were there that look like you? And congratulations on graduating again.
Thank you. So, I guess I'm kind of I went to Howard, so, Howard is HBCU. So I'm my class was kind of like an anomaly. I feel like we were like 80% Black.
Wow,
but
nice.
If you look at medical schools like around, it's kind of like, it's special we have at Howard. But if you look at like other schools like around the country, like they may have like 10 Black people graduating to like 200. The numbers like Howard numbers do not reflect like most medical schools in the US. So Howard, like I said, Howard is an anomaly.
Can I ask, is that the reason why you chose Howard?
That was one of the reasons
Okay.
that, I chose Howard, but, that was the only medical school I got into, if I'm being quite frank. So
Okay.
it was, I had no choice but to go there, but I was happy I got in because that's someplace I really wanted to go.
Nice. So it shows you. I'm happy that you got to go where you wanted to go.
Of course, of course. So Jason, I'm going to get a little technical with you now. So here's where it gets interesting. Your interest in trauma acute care surgery, invasive surgery, and surgical oncology. Can you explain to us your form of surgery for the layman out there so we can understand?
Yeah, so one of the things I liked about general surgeries is that, has all these different subspecialties. So like trauma acute care surgery, that's like your emergency surgery. That's someone who got into like a bad car accident and has like a penetrating like wound to like the abdomen and they need surgery like urgently. Surgical oncology, that's like removing like cancers from, different solid organs and different parts of the body. And minimally invasive surgery, that's a really broad term as well. That could be divided into several different subsections, but it's a form of surgery that uses like laparoscopic equipment where you do surgery through these really tiny holes and you use instruments. That's why it's called like minimally invasive. But that by itself is a lot of different things. A lot of like GI tract surgery, like stomach surgery, like surgery on like your esophagus or your throat. A lot of different things are done minimally invasive. So, it's a lot to dive in right there, but that's generally the concept of it.
Of course. Well, I'm sure you just shared a lot, and I in particular have learned the difference. So thanks for clearing up that.
Absolutely. That's what I'm here for.
Nice.
Indeed.
Let's talk about your residency. You are a general surgeon at the Yale University New Haven Hospital program. How has that been going? What are some of the highs and some of the lows you have encountered thus far?
Yeah, well, I'm actually starting that program in like 3 weeks, I guess.
Oh, you're not started yet?
I'm finishing up at UVA.
Okay.
No, I'm finishing up here at the University. Yeah, I'm at the University of Virginia now. I'm finishing up here and then I'm going to Yale.
Wow.
Okay, so how's the preparation going so far for that?
Moving always sucks going across, going from like state to state. So, I need to start really preparing. Like I haven't started packing yet.
So you have to pack up apartment too?
Yeah, I got to do everything. I'm picking up, taking everything and moving.
Oh, okay. Wow.
But I've been personally trying to like brush up on like topics that I've struggled with all year. So I've been doing like a little studying here and there just to, make sure that I'm when I come, like I'm there on like, I come correctly when I go there and I'm not really like messing up on things that I should know. Because they're going to expect me to know things since I've already done the internship.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice. Let's speak about, I had the train of thought, but the train of thought just left me. Okay. For the average person that wants to get into medical school, the train of thought is back, Jason. I realized you went from the Florida State University, you went to Howard University, then you did one internship, and now you're going to a next internship. What is the process when you sign up for medical school? I know it's several years, but what is the process?
So, I mean, I kind of have a unique situation. So when you are accepted to medical school, you do 4 years, and then at the end of your third year, at the start of your fourth year, somewhere in between there, you apply for residencies. And that's when you're, trained for X number of years, depending on your specialty. Last year, I graduated last year, but I only got a 1 year spot here at the University of Virginia. Due to, a number of circumstances.
Okay.
But anyway, I finished this year. Okay. So I had to reapply and, I got a spot at Yale.
Okay.
So that's just kind of how it works. It's a whole algorithm how to use to pick spots. And I don't know. I quite frankly don't understand it.
Okay.
You basically interview at certain places, you make your list, the place make their list, and then some computer like matches you up.
Wow. Okay.
So it's insane. It's just insane. They use this to predict where people go in for training, but it is what it is.
Okay.
Interesting.
We have to talk about that dog, okay?
Sure,
okay.
of course. Jason, as we try to wrap up, what advice do you have for any young persons out there who wants to venture the same field that you're in, becoming a doctor? Because most persons who want to become a doctor, I mean, it's not, the education is not complete here in St. Kitts. You have to migrate to complete it. What advice do you have for that person who is probably financially unstable, but they have the passion and they want to become a doctor? What encouragement would you have for that person who is watching and listening right now?
Yeah, so I think that, first of all, get a mentor. Like as I mentioned before, I think that's crucial. Kind of identifying, having a mentor can, help you like kind of navigate those pathways, like with regards to applying for loans and stuff like that, and really seeing what type of places you can go for school. Then you need to identify if you want to like practice like in the Caribbean or like in the States. You could go to UWI. UWI has like a great medical school. And that's an option for a lot of people. Just due to stuff like citizenships and visas and stuff like that.
Right.
So I think getting a mentor, someone who can really guide you, is really crucial for really navigating those paths.
Okay.
Interesting.
And before we wrap up, I have to talk about this dog. So you have to show St. Kitts and Nevis your mini golden doodle, because we spoke about all the other activities you do, your basketball, you're working out, you're cooking. We know that you're going to a new city, but can you tell us what new country you are going to whilst we see that lovely golden doodle?
I'm intrigued to see.
Can I
come
have
here,
him?
Avon, come here. His name is Avon. It's him right here.
Hi, Avon. I like his color.
Avon.
Hi, Avon.
Yeah, you see his chain.
Fancy dog. Fancy dog.
Indeed, he's golden.
He is golden all through. Lovely dog. Bye, Avon.
Yeah, he loves the attention.
Oh,
trust me.
And I'm sure you are making your parents proud, and so does the golden doodle.
Thank you.
Jason, this is where we have to wrap it up. It was so much fun to hear more about you and for you to break it down, tell us your journey and where it all started and where you are now. So we want to thank you for speaking with us on Good Morning SKN, and we look forward to see and hear much more good things from you in the near future.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure. This is my first time ever doing like an interview or something like this. So I'm glad I could do it with like a company from back home.
Yes.
So thanks for making this a special day for me too.
Oh, you're welcome, and we appreciate you.
What will it take to grab the attention of someone with the power to make your dream come true? 7 hopeful entrepreneurs in search of the finances necessary to take their ideas to the next level.
This is their lives, right? This is their business.
4 savvy business owners ready to make a pragmatic investment.
You can't help people if you can't help yourself. First, you make the dollar and you give the dollar.
Why you take your business offline?
I really feel that you need to do a little bit more research.
Very knowledgeable. Super knowledgeable.
You have a great idea and a great concept. I think you'd be snapped up by Disney.
If you have a job someplace, it means that if something is not working, you can walk away.
Who will invest?
Let's do this. Let's do this.
Thank you. And who will be sent home with nothing? I am your host, Kevin Hope.
no cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. Yesterday, Sunday 21st of May, was internationally recognized as World Day of Cultural Diversity for Dialogue and Development. This year was first declared by the United Nations General Assembly in 2020 to celebrate not only the richness of the world's cultures, but also the need of cultural dialogue for achieving peace and sustainable development. Today, we are pleased to welcome back Marlene Phillips to Good Morning SKN. Marlene is the Research and Documentation Specialist within the ICH Secretariat Unit of the Ministry of Creative Economy, and she is here to enlighten us on the significance of cultural diversity and so much more. Marlene, welcome back to GMSKN.
Thank you.
Happy to have you back. So, Marlene, could you share with us what's the meaning of intercultural dialogue?
Well, I think it's obvious that as a nation, we have multiculturalism. There's a lot of different nationalities that reside within St. Kitts and Nevis and wider throughout the Caribbean and also throughout the diaspora. So when you're speaking about intercultural dialogue, I think you have to acknowledge and respect from where someone has come, you know, geographically. Through history, we migrated. A lot of our people were brought to the Caribbean from the continent of Africa due to colonization and also dispersed throughout the North Americas. So there's been a mixing of cultures, mixing of languages, and I think you might agree that if you look at the Caribbean and even here in St. Kitts and Nevis, there are certain different dialects. But when you travel from island to island or even throughout the diaspora, you hear something that sounds familiar, you know, to where you grew up, to where you've come from. So because there's been a mixing of nations, a mixing of cultures, it makes it a little bit more challenging, but we have to find a way to speak to each other, to communicate, even if there's a barrier of language. And that helps to resolve issues and bring forth peace. Because if we can't communicate with each other, if we don't understand what the practices of someone else's culture is, how can we resolve issues of differences? So that's what I feel intercultural dialogue deals with.
Cultural diversity is embracing cultural diversity and building bridges for a harmonious world. You would say that this theme is quite fitting.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it's something that even if they didn't change, I mean, UNESCO, it's UNESCO's platform, but even if they didn't change the theme, it's something that we have to be working at continuously every day in our lives, you know? It's not, sometimes we don't understand different cultures, and I think it's part of the state's obligation to teach it through education. You know, if you don't get the teaching from your family members in terms of traditions are passed down through, you know, to your grandparents, to your mother, to your father, and so on and so forth. When you have children, the hope is that you pass on the tradition to your children. However, if it's not being studied in school in terms of geography and history, there's a big gap. There's a big gap in understanding our purpose, why we're here, what are some of the traditions that we had, what is our foundation, and you can't measure the change of culture unless you know the foundation, right? So if we didn't know where we came from, if we didn't know our history, and this goes to anybody and anyone coming from a different nationality, if you don't know the origins of your history, you're going to be lost, you're going to be confused, and you're not going to be able to, I think, feel a genuine purpose in your life and feel like you belong or where you belong. So it's very, very important for us to make sure that we're passing on the right traditions, that we know what our traditions are, so that when we travel, when we mix with other nations, we can actually share some of the values that we have within our communities, and hopefully they will be respected.
Hopefully,
yeah.
Sorry. Speaking in particular to St. Kitts and Nevis, because many times just being in around other persons in St. Kitts, we'll often hear persons say this quote unquote phrase, "Oh, your bang water come here." I mean, like, how does one embrace this kind of change, cultural change, when you say to someone who's not from here, "Oh, your bang water come here"? And it's a phenomenon right here in St. Kitts. I've heard the phrase many times.
That's the first time I've heard the phrase. I've lived here for 23 years. I've never heard that. No.
I heard it a lot.
Yeah.
All the time.
Oh, okay. Definition?
Basically, they think you came in a boat, so you paddling all the way here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I can't speak to the term. Mind you, I don't know every local saying that's been said. But in terms of what you're asking, I mean, we are a people who migrate, right? And again, it goes back to our origins. If you don't understand where we've come from, we've actually migrated from the continent of Africa, right? And if you don't understand that, you've missed the teaching somewhere, whether it be in school or by your parents, or even done your own research. So you can't change the origins of where you've come from. And I think that sometimes we tend to run from that. Young people, thinking they might not have any connection to Africa because they were born in the Caribbean. That's a little bit blind and naive without doing your research and understanding your history. So I think everyone has a right to choose where they want to live, but you can't change who you are. You can't change your makeup. I can't change my skin color. By the melanin in my skin, I know where my origins are. You understand? So there's nothing wrong with being proud of where you come from, but we also have to acknowledge that there's a lot of diverse cultures, and as an individual, you might not agree with certain practices from other cultures. However, if we're supposed to coexist together and find a way to have peace amongst one another, we have to be able to understand and respect the practices of someone else within reason, as long as they're not harming another human being. There are a lot of cultures that are very different. From the beginning of time, our foundation is scriptural. We're not supposed to be consuming blood. There are some cultures in Africa that consume blood. So, you have to use your moral compass. You have to use your discernment. And while you might not consume it, that is something that tribe has grown up as their tradition. To challenge and question morality of it and whether it should be done or not, obviously you have to do more research and understand where that began in a culture. But like I said, as long as people are not harming other people, I think we should be able to tolerate differences, we have to learn to live together peacefully.
Indeed. And before we go to the break, I would like to know your thoughts on integrating culture into the frameworks of sustainable development. Well,
it's something that we can't avoid. There's a high number of us in society who lean towards cultural practices in terms of livelihood. Sometimes, like, we call it the intangible cultural heritage, because there are different things that are practiced, methods of cooking, methods of preparing a food, the types of food that you eat, for example. And there are people who have amazing skills doing that. We have people that have been gifted with voice and they sing. And instead of a hobby, this is something they would like to sing every day of their life and be able, to live. We have to find a way to earn money so that we can live and put a roof over our head, have food to eat. But why can't we enjoy what we are doing? We have people who have skills doing hair, doing makeup. We have people that have skills playing music, writing music. We have people who have skills planting, agriculture, dealing with the universe and natural properties of herbs for medicinal purposes and things of that nature. So why is it that we cannot do these things as a livelihood? There's still a challenge with us respecting people in the cultural industries who are trying to practice their trade. If they're not a banker, a lawyer, a surgeon, etc., where there's nothing wrong with those careers, we need those careers as well. But there's a lot of people who have natural talents and make products and make crafts and things of that nature, and they want to earn from their talents, and we need to embrace that more. And as an institution, I work within the creative economy of the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. A lot of initiatives are being done to understand what the needs are of artists, of creatives, and how we can help to support, and what policies need to be created to help improve relations and earning your livelihood as a means of sustainability, as sustaining yourself, boosting the economy, things like that.
Awesome. And Marlene, we're up on the break, but stay tuned, folks. Much more when we return on GMSKN.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
Cheers.
An exotic experience.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN as we continue our engaging conversation with Marlene Phillips, Research and Documentation Specialist, about World Day for Cultural Diversity and Dialogue and Development. So Marlene, before we went on the break, I was asking, or before I even started the whole conversation, why is it we have so many different cultures living here in St. Kitts that I have not seen a big food fair? I'm a foodie, so I'm going to ask on behalf of all the foodies, why have we not had a cultural food fair where we can maybe come together, share in the food, and get to understand each other a bit more?
Well, I can't answer that question. However, I do know that there are pockets of food activity happening. I know that tourism has a restaurant week, and or promotes a restaurant week, and they pick a local vegetable that they encourage the restaurateurs to include on their menu, and also not just restaurants, but small vendors, food vendors that exist throughout the nation, as an opportunity to remind us, go and check out the foods, check out these different restaurants and the cultural cuisine that's being offered. Nevis has a mango festival, which is coming up soon. So again, another opportunity for chefs, cooks, vendors to promote something using mango, because there's so many different varieties of mango that exist nationally. So I wouldn't say, I haven't seen an annual food fair, but there are lots of different opportunities and different events that happen throughout the year where food is incorporated. Currently, we're celebrating African Liberation Week of activities. And I don't know if you knew that on Friday, our people, vendors, cooks, chefs were in the square promoting African food. So there was food from Nigeria, from Ghana, and Tanzania, right? So there's lots of opportunities to try, within the villages. There's no specific time of year that it happens collectively. And I think it would be very big because like he said, there's a lot of cultures that reside in St. Kitts and Nevis. And I'm a foodie as well, not good for our waistline, but I love a good food, So, but it would be lovely to be able to, create a national food day where we do have all the different cultures that exist in St. Kitts and Nevis and be able to sample their foods. So good suggestion.
If they're listening, just gave you an idea.
As during your tenure working as a documentation and research specialist, what have you gathered or what have you learned so far about the cultural diversity in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis?
That there has to be more education about the culture of people that live in St. Kitts and the history behind it. Because as I mentioned before, migration, our parents, some of our parents migrated to different parts of the world. Different families migrated to come here in St. Kitts and Nevis. So we need to learn that in school. We need to learn that amongst each other. We have there's language differences. Why is it that we don't try and understand each other's language and we're living in such close proximity, So I think that there needs to be more education about the history of migration and how these different cultures came to reside in St. Kitts and Nevis so that we could understand each other better. Sometimes we keep to ourselves, and different ethnicities will keep to themselves, sometimes because of language, right? But I think it's a golden opportunity for us to try and learn and understand through food, through, we live amongst each other, we're each other's neighbors, try and understand a little something about your neighbor's culture, the food that they eat, the language they speak, how they came to St. Kitts and Nevis, and be more embracing, because the same way how we hop on a plane, travel somewhere, maybe not on vacation, but with the desire to live, we would want to be accepted as long as the laws of the land are being respected. Why would you want to reject someone? I wouldn't want to feel rejected, because I think people have a lot to contribute to a society that they live in. If they're not, well, obviously there's laws there to deal with the unruly people, but generally speaking, people migrate for better life, better opportunity, to live safely, peacefully, away from war, away from things that would harm. So yeah, it's an opportunity for us to learn from each other, about each other. Well, it's from our perspective, we don't celebrate diversity on a day. That's UNESCO. UNESCO has chosen the day to celebrate it, but every day we're living cultural diversity and and dealing with life. So the Department of Creative Economy, we have been doing consultations with the public to find out what is it that you need, what kind of support do you want in terms of the department, how can we help you, to develop further, what are your challenges. And so through these consultations, we've learned that, there's a disparity in terms of the equal rights of artists. Sometimes we have challenges with freedom of speech. Sometimes we have, things like more opportunities in terms of artists or creatives being able to share their products and services, not just nationally, but regionally and internationally. How do they get into those markets? It's challenging trying to get into North American, European markets. How can we create grant opportunities, not just for entrepreneurs, but people that are running a small business? It's very expensive to export your products from St. Kitts and Nevis, in just doing your daily business. Why are the costs so expensive for somebody to ship something out? Or what kind of concessions can be offered for creators and producers who need to import raw materials and products? These are things that can be done to help the creative to be able to ply their trade and be more sustainable. Because if you don't help the artists and creatives, then what's going to happen to society? You're going to have a high rate of unemployment if you don't acknowledge these their contribution to GDP. These are things that we have to look at, and respecting the rights of artists and the things that they create, intellectual property, because that's what they're making money off of, their idea, their creation, and they manifest it in terms of a product or a service. So at what point are we going to start engaging these services? There's also a challenge. A part of what the department is doing is looking at ways to educate the small business owner on how to market their services and products outside of the Federation, proper packaging, proper way of running business, invoices, registering your business, and networking, things like this. Sometimes a hobby becomes a career, becomes a livelihood, but the person never got training on how to do the marketing, how to manage the business. So again, these are ways that the department will partner with different, private sector and public sector departments, business and things like that, to help bring workshops to help educate small business owners so they can improve the productivity.
Although I used to creative economy, I still didn't think that, and because it comes with culture, I still didn't think that they were on there, but I get the full gist of it now. Wow.
I mean, the creative economy is huge. Yeah. It's huge. It's not just, we don't want people to see the creatives just as an entertainment, the entertainers is a product of having that, a hold or being an expert in that creative art form. But we want people to think about spending their money locally. Spend your money with people who are making products locally. Help to build up the national economy, right? Because a lot of money goes outside, of the country. If we patronize the small businessman that's here and we help to build them up, their business grows, and then they can employ somebody else. So we help to eradicate poverty. You understand? So these are sort of the things that we have to look at, and we have to, as a department, have to look at the challenges in policy, the challenges in the infrastructure, customs, exporting goods, standards, practices, and try and find a way to help to improve the livelihoods of these individuals. So it's a lot of different things that we have to look at. It's a lot of different departments that we have to consult with, and a lot of support that we need. Also private sector in terms of making it employing some of these individuals, purchasing goods and services from them, for your own companies. That can make a huge difference in someone's business.
Speaking about the creatives, for those persons who are watching and are interested and intrigued by what you're discussing with us, how can they get in touch with the Ministry of work on the creative economy?
The creative economy? Well, currently we're located in the Palms, off the Circus in the Palms building. And you'll see a big sign there, so it will be easy to find. Just come into the office and you can speak to one of the specialists there. We have drumming, music, and dance specialists, and we've just added, some new employees. We'll be focusing on the arts. We also deal with intangible cultural heritage, so you can come to the office. We're there every day, Monday through Friday, 8 till 4. Or you can call, I think it's 467-1415 or 467-1396. I'm kind of drawing a bit blank on all the numbers, but you'll find us. Come in and let us know what area you're interested in, what your needs are, and we can put you in the right direction if it's not something that we can assist you with.
And just before we head into the break, any final words for the people in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis?
I want everyone to look at your cultural heritage. Do your own family research. Teach your children about your origins. And if you don't know, start studying it now. Where did your mother, your father come from? Things that are interesting is, it's always interesting to learn how your grandparents grew up, what they grew up with. Very little, a lot. What were some of their jobs that they had? Sometimes that informs us of why we are the way we are today. Sometimes we inherit some of the characteristics of our forefathers, and I think it adds value to encourage that in your children, to give them an identity, so they have a grounding of where they come from, and know that they belong and be proud of who they are. Right? Because when you go out there in the world and you meet a lot of different cultures, different types of people, sometimes they might not respect your heritage. But if you know where you come from, who you are, and you feel proud of that, then you'll know best how to deal with those kinds of negative things that might come. And some people embrace it. Some people love meeting different cultures and don't feel threatened by them. And so I just encourage everyone to do your own family research, start traditions within your family, and be proud of who you are.
Proud of who you are. That was a great way to end. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Marlene Phillips from the Department of Cultural Diversity, Department of Culture, or the Creative Economy.
Yes.
Sorry, Creative Economy. Yeah, I stand corrected. Stay tuned. Much more after this short break.
Yeah.
An exotic experience.
Good morning, SKN. Wagwan. Yo, it's Ben's Lad coming to you live from Jamaica. You see it already, see me? See me, I say Caribbean people stand up and I love this. This show is very important. You understand me? Yeah, man. Studio 327. Ben's Lad, it's a big up. See me, I say. I'm the whole innocent crew. Yeah, man. More love.
no cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
Yo, this is your boy Smiley of the Grandmasters Band, and you're watching GMSKN. Hey, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, just make sure you're watching GMSKN. What up?
What will it take to grab the attention of someone with the power to make your dream come true? 7 hopeful entrepreneurs in search of the finances necessary to take their ideas to the next level.
This is their lives, right? This is their business.
4 savvy business owners ready to make a pragmatic investment.
You can't help people if you can't help yourself. First, you make the dollar and you give the dollar.
Why you take your business offline?
I really feel that you need to do a little bit more research.
Very knowledgeable. Super knowledgeable.
You have a great idea and a great concept. I think you'd be snapped up by Disney.
If you have a job someplace, it means that if something is not working, you can walk away.
Who will invest?
Let's do this. Let's do this.
Thank you. And who will be sent home with nothing? I am your host, Kevin Hope.
Good morning, SKN and Studio 327. This is Tao Batiste, one of your biggest fans. Just you're doing a lot of things well. Keep on that trajectory. Greatness.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. It is time for Andre and I to demonstrate our acting skills. Well, I see Andre warming up like we in the gym. We will be playing 4 lines on a scene as we loosen up this morning. Seeing that yesterday was celebrated as World Day for Cultural Diversity, for Dialogue and Development, the lines for this edition of the game are popular sayings from the Caribbean. So here's how it works. Our team has given us 4 lines, and we are tasked with the challenge of creating a whole scene based on these 4 lines and any connecting lines we can come up with. So here are the 4 lines. So you want to read the 4 lines and then we start the action?
Sure, let's
okay.
go right ahead. This one says, all cassava get same skin, but all not taste same way.
Okay, the second one says, common sense make before book sense.
Dog a sweat and long he hide it.
And the 4th one said, see me and come live with me? Are 2 different things. So we begin.
All cassava get same skin, but all not taste the same.
So you want to say the cassava that come from Jamaica tastes better than the ones anywhere else in the Caribbean? But no, in the cassava, I shouldn't mix it up. Remember that they say Usain Bolt maybe would have had something in his system, but I think it's yellow yam. I thought it was sweet potato.
No mix up the thing, girl. It's yellow yam, no cassava.
No cassava. So you want to say Jamaica had the best soil for the ground provision?
Absolutely. We have the best yam in jam down, and trust me, they come out with cassava.
Oh, okay. So St. Kitts, thank you for the lovely cassava. Okay. So, but all still don't taste the same. Cause we get some bitter, and then sometimes the one that we get from overseas, no pun intended, but they spoil very quickly. So I can't get to enjoy my cassava.
All cassava gets in, but all not taste the same way.
It not taste the same way. So common sense make before book sense. What do you say about that? You agree?
Of course.
Because a lot of people have book sense, but we have no common sense. It's better to have common sense added with book sense.
Then
so
you have perfect sense.
All right. So,
common sense make before book sense. So it's important to get a little common sense mixed with the book sense.
And then it
perfect
makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I like that.
Perfect sense in dollars or perfect sense?
Both.
Ooh. So this one said dog a sweat and long hair hide it. I'm trying to figure out how.
How? Let me show you. Dog a sweat and long hair hide it. See it here. But who is the dog in this situation? Because me no dog. See the dog a sweat and long hair hide it.
Andre, come up with these things. Oh my gosh. Well, see me and come live with me is two different things. So you look too outside, but the other day I come by you and me smell this old man going your place. Guys, this is not true because I've never been by Andre. I'm just saying.
Girl, where you know me from? Me invite you home? Me bring you in the place? Girl, where you know me from?
So everybody that you see looking neat, as they say, you don't eat from everybody because you don't know what a kitchen look like. So see me and come live with me is two different things. Even with attitude. Because outside we could be laughy and jokey, and then inside we like totally different persons.
There you go.
They definitely say, see me and come live with me is two different things.
I agree with this statement.
Yeah, indeed.
I agree with it. It's so Caribbean. See me and come live with me are two different or a different. Come, let's talk it. Caribbean or Kittish and Nivision. See me and come live with me are two different things. Say that in English. See me and
come live with me
are two
different things.
I'll stick to me Caribbean. See me and come live with me are two different things.
Two different. But is the hair? Is the long hair killing me with this hair? Andre, you seem like you come prepared with this hair.
Monday we have to be prepared for Monday. Watch here, dog a sweat and long hair hide it. Perfect representation. What where this statement derived from?
I wonder too. So I definitely.
Vision.
It's on the vision. When you go to Nevis and you get beat up, I would not be in the mix again.
I wonder if they're going to have a co-host in the morning.
Well, I need a co-host in the morning to be here. Thou shalt be here. But that was fun. That was fun.
It was fun. I like that.
Sure was. And I like the little prop that you pulled out. I was not expecting. I was not expecting this prop that you came prepared for the show.
You know me. We do it right here. On Good Morning SK.
So, Andre, how did you think the show went today?
It was awesome. I mean, that interview with Dr. Israel was awesome. I enjoyed that interview. And of course, who doesn't want to learn more about the culture of St. Kitts and Nevis?
Yeah, and as I said, we need the food fair because we need to taste the different cultures and we need to embrace it. Not because, and as she rightfully said,
it seems that they're fascinating about this here, man. A moment there.
But it just shows that, as she said, language barriers, and we know persons from the Dominican Republic normally stick together because it's easier for them, especially when they're not versed with English. But we still can't castrate them and say, oh, they're to themselves. They're to themselves for a reason. So it's for us to go in and get to know them. We have a Guyanese community, a Jamaican community, we have a Haitian community that's growing, and now we have the Cameroonians. So we are full of culture and diversity, and the best thing to do is what? Embrace it. And don't forget the year report. How about that? Although we're not in the year anymore, we can still report.
And remember, speaking of culture,
yeah.
I'm going to put it out here. Not good. We all need to stop it. We are all culturally diverse.
Sure.
I'm Jamaican, but I live here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and I love this beautiful federation. However, please, guys, let's cut out. Stop telling persons that they bang water. Come here. It is not good. I don't like it, and I'm sure a lot of persons can attest to it. Like, I mean, we all come here just to share our culture, learn. It's not a good thing, guys. And in contesting to that, persons who bang water initially, Nevisians bang water come down to St. Kitts, and Kittitians bang water up to Nevis on a day. So we all bang water here. You get the drift?
Yeah, we all bang water.
Let's cut it out, guys. We're all one Caribbean, love of each other. We're here to learn from each other, and we're here to just live as one. So, love this, love this, love this.
So it's time. It's that time of day. Even with the long hair that you grow to wipe the sweat.
Listen. So long, farewell to you.
Let me do the floss.
Goodbye for now. Until we meet again, I say so long, farewell to you. now until we meet again.
Robot.
This morning.
I helped. I wasn't sure when I danced.
I wanted you to trick you.
Okay. Next time. Yes.
Thank you for joining us today. It was an awesome show. Tune in daily where you'll find a little bit of everything for everyone. Get your friends and family to watch. Remember to follow us on our social media platforms, including Facebook and YouTube at st.kitts Inc. and Instagram at Good Morning SKN. Remember to like, subscribe, follow, and share. Also, check out our website at st.kitts7inc.com to learn more about GMSKN and Studio 327.
And we don't have boring Mondays here. We had a marvelous Monday today. So leave us a comment and let us know what was your favorite part of today's show. Thank you for watching. See you in the morning at 8 a.m. when you will wake up bright and early. Drink your coffee. Get some long hair to wipe your sweats and start your morning with us right here at Good Morning SKN. Remember, book sense and common sense make perfect sense. So see you tomorrow. Bye, guys. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Continue to subscribe and like and everything else.
And Roti's Pan Friday.
It's Pan Friday. I have to concede.
Bye, folks.